Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Sophia, and today, we are going to talk about a very common English problem. Many English learners study for a long time. They learn grammar. They memorize vocabulary. They watch videos. They read books. They practice again and again. But when it is time to speak, something feels wrong. The mind becomes slow. The mouth becomes quiet. And the sentence does not come out naturally. Why does this happen? Why do so many learners feel stuck, even after months or years of study? One big reason is very simple. They are not really thinking in English. They are translating first. This means the idea starts in their first language. Then, they try to move that idea into English. They search for the right words. They check the grammar in their mind. They worry about mistakes. And because of all this, speaking becomes slow and heavy. Maybe you know this feeling very well. You want to say something simple. Very simple. But before you speak, your brain starts working too hard. For example, maybe you want to say, "I was very tired yesterday." This is not a difficult sentence. It is short. It is clear. It is natural. But many learners still do not say it quickly. First, they think in their own language. Then they search for the word tired. Then, they think about the past tense. Then they ask themselves if the sentence is correct. And only after that, they speak. This is not only a speaking problem. It is also a thinking problem. When you always translate, your brain has to do two jobs. The first job is making the idea. The second job is changing the idea into English. That takes time. That uses energy. And that creates stress. This is why some learners say, "I know English, but I cannot use it quickly." Or, "I understand more than I can say." Or even, "My English disappears when I need it." If you have felt this way, you are not alone. And it does not mean you are bad at languages. It does not mean you are lazy. It does not mean you cannot improve. It simply means your system is too dependent on translation. And today, we are going to understand that system better. Because when you understand the problem clearly, you can begin to change it. Now, let us think about something important. Is translation always bad? No. Translation can help you in the beginning. It can help you understand new words. It can help you feel safe. It can help you build a small bridge into English. But here is the problem. Many learners stay on that bridge for too long. They never really step into English. They keep asking themselves questions like these. What is this word in my language? How do I say this exactly? Can I translate this sentence directly? These questions feel useful. But sometimes, they keep you trapped. Because real speaking does not wait. Real conversation moves quickly. People do not pause for 10 seconds while you translate every thought. And your confidence becomes weaker every time you feel too slow. That is why this topic matters so much. We are not only talking about language. We are also talking about freedom. When you can think more directly in English, you feel lighter. You feel faster. You feel calmer. And speaking starts to feel more natural. Not perfect, but natural. And that is the goal. The goal is not to become perfect overnight. The goal is to reduce the distance between your idea and your English. Little by little. Day by day. So in this episode, we will talk about why your brain keeps translating. We will talk about what thinking in English really means. And we will talk about simple habits that can help you change. You do not need perfect grammar first. You do not need a huge vocabulary first. And you do not need to feel ready first. You only need to begin in a new way. So take a deep breath. Relax your shoulders. And stay with me. Because this may be one of the most important changes in your English journey. Now, let us look at the next question. Why does your brain keep translating? If you want to change this habit, you first need to understand it. And the truth is very simple. Your brain is not trying to hurt you. It is trying to protect you. Translation feels safe. Translation feels familiar. Translation feels controlled. When you think in your first language, your ideas are clear. You know what you want to say. You know how to say it. You feel strong in that language. But English can feel different. English can feel smaller. Sometimes it can feel weaker. Sometimes it can even feel uncomfortable. So your brain makes a choice. It says, let me start with the language I know best. Then it says, after that, I will try to move the sentence into English. This feels logical. And in the beginning, it is normal. Most learners do this. Almost everyone does this at first. The problem is not the beginning. The problem is staying there too long. Imagine a child learning to ride a bicycle. At first, the child may use training wheels. That is helpful. That gives support. That reduces fear. But if the child never removes the training wheels, real balance never grows. Translation is a little like that. It helps at the start, but later, it can slow your growth. Another reason your brain keeps translating is habit. And habit is powerful. If you have spent months or years learning English through translation, your brain becomes used to that path. Idea in your language first, then English second. When you repeat the same mental path many times, it becomes automatic. You may not even notice it anymore. It just happens. This is why some learners say, "I know I should think in English, but I always go back." Yes, because your brain likes the old road. The old road feels easy. Even when it is slow, it feels familiar. There is also another reason. Many learners want to say everything perfectly. They do not want a simple sentence. They want the best sentence. They do not want a clear sentence. They want the most correct sentence. So before they speak, they start checking everything inside their mind. The vocabulary, the grammar, the tense, the article, the preposition, the word order. And while they are checking all these small things, the moment to speak is gone. This happens because translation is often connected to perfectionism. You do not trust a simple English sentence. So you go back to your first language. You build the idea there, and then you try to rebuild it in English very carefully. But careful does not always mean helpful. Sometimes careful means slow. Sometimes careful means nervous. Sometimes careful means silent. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine someone asks you, "How was your day?" A natural answer could be very simple. You could say, "It was busy, but good." Or, "I was tired, but I got a lot done." Or even, "It was okay. I had a lot to do." These are normal answers. They are useful answers. They are enough. But a learner who depends on translation may think like this. In my language, I want to say something more exact. Maybe I want to describe the whole day in detail. Maybe I need a better word. Maybe this sentence is too simple. And then the answer becomes late, or weak, or completely lost. So sometimes, translation is not only about language. It is also about fear. Fear of mistakes. Fear of sounding simple. Fear of sounding wrong. Fear of being judged. And when fear is present, the brain holds on even more tightly to old habits. There is one more reason. Many people learn English in a passive way for a long time. They read, They listen. They study grammar. But they do not spend enough time creating simple thoughts directly in English. This is very important. Input is necessary. Listening is necessary. Reading is necessary. But if you only receive English and never build with English, your mind stays dependent. You become good at recognizing English, but not good at producing it. This is why a learner can understand a podcast, but still freeze in conversation. This is why a learner can know many words, but still speak very slowly. This is why understanding and speaking can feel so far apart. So let us pause here for a moment. If your brain keeps translating, it may be because translation feels safe. It may be because translation has become a strong habit. It may be because you want perfect sentences. It may be because you are afraid of mistakes. And it may be because you have not practiced direct English thinking enough yet. All of these reasons are normal. Very normal. So please do not blame yourself. Do not say, "Something is wrong with me." Do not say, "I will never speak naturally." That is not true. You are not broken. Your brain is simply using a pattern it knows well. And patterns can change. Slowly. Gently. Step by step. In the next part, we will talk about something very important. What does thinking in English actually mean? Because many learners hear this advice, but they do not really know how to understand it. So let us make it simple. And let us make it real. Now, let us talk about the next question. What does it really mean to think in English? Many learners hear this advice again and again. Think in English. Stop translating. Use English directly. But these words can sound a little confusing. They sound good. They sound important. But what do they really mean in daily life? Some learners imagine something impossible. They think, "Does this mean I must think in English all day? Does it mean I should never use my first language again? Does it mean I must sound like a native speaker in my own mind?" No. That is not what it means. Thinking in English does not mean becoming a different person. It does not mean forcing your brain to live in English every second. And it does not mean having perfect thoughts in perfect grammar. Thinking in English means something much simpler. It means building small ideas directly in English, without going back to your first language every time. That is all. Simple ideas, directly in English. For example, imagine you wake up in the morning. You look outside. You see rain. A simple English thought could be this: It's raining today. That is thinking in English. You look at the clock. You feel tired. You say in your mind, I need more sleep. That is thinking in English. You are making coffee. The water is too hot. You think, it smells good. Or, this is too hot. Or, I need to hurry. This is also thinking in English. Do you see the pattern? These thoughts are short. They are simple. They are real. And they are connected to the moment you are living in. This is very important. Thinking in English is easier when the thought is connected to something you can see, feel, or do right now. Why? Because you do not need a perfect sentence. You only need a direct sentence. Many learners make the mistake of starting too big. They say, okay, from now on, I will think about politics in English. Or, I will explain my life philosophy in English. That is too much at the beginning. Your brain becomes tired very quickly. And then you go back to translation again. So instead, start with the small world around you. The chair. The window. The weather. Your body. Your schedule. Your feelings. For example, you can think, I am hungry. I am late. This room is cold. I don't want to go out today. I need to answer that email. I feel a little stressed. These are not impressive sentences, but they are useful. And more importantly, they train a new mental path. That new path is this. Experience first, then English directly. Not experience first, then first language, then English. This is how the change begins. Another important point is this. Thinking in English does not mean using difficult words. In fact, simple English is better. Simple English is faster. Simple English is clearer. Simple English is easier to trust. Let us say you are tired after work. A direct English thought could be, I am tired. Or, today was a long day. Or, I need some rest. That is enough. You do not need to think, I am experiencing a deep sense of physical and mental exhaustion. That is not natural for most learners. And honestly, it is not necessary. Natural thinking usually begins with simple language. Then over time, it grows. Slowly. Naturally. Here is another helpful idea. Thinking in English is often not full sentences at first. Sometimes, it is just words. Sometimes, it is very short phrases. Sometimes, it is half a sentence. For example, too loud, need coffee, running late, nice weather, long meeting. This also counts. It still helps your brain connect life to English. So please do not think you must sound perfect in your mind. Your inner English can be small at first. It can be simple. It can even be incomplete. That is okay. Because the goal is not beauty. The goal is direct connection. Let me say that again. The goal is not beauty. The goal is direct connection between your life and your English. When you see something, feel something, want something, or notice something, you practice giving it English immediately. This is how English becomes more alive in your mind. This is how it becomes faster. This is how it becomes more natural. Now, there is something else many learners need to hear. Thinking in English does not mean you will never translate again. Sometimes you will. Sometimes your brain will go back. Sometimes a difficult thought will still begin in your first language. That is normal. Very normal. This is not a perfect change. It is a gradual change. At first, maybe only 5% of your thoughts become direct English thoughts. Then, maybe 10%. Then more. Then more. You are not trying to force your whole mind. You are only training a new habit. And every small direct thought matters. Every small sentence helps. Every moment of direct English builds strength. So if you ask me, what does thinking in English really mean? My answer is this. It means using simple English to describe your real life, in real time, without always going through translation first. That is the heart of it. Simple. Direct. Real. In the next part, we are going to make this more practical. We will talk about small daily habits that help you stop translating little by little. Not big goals. Not difficult exercises. Just simple habits you can actually use. And that is where real change begins. Now, let us make this practical. How can you stop translating little by little in daily life? The answer is not one big trick. It is not one magic method. It is not one perfect exercise. The answer is small habits. Small habits that are easy to repeat. Small habits that connect English to your real day. You do not need to change everything at once. You only need to begin with simple moments. The first habit is very simple. Name what you see. This is one of the easiest ways to build direct English thinking. You look at something, and you give it English right away. For example, you see your desk. You think, my desk is messy. You see the sky. You think, the sky looks gray today. You see your phone. You think, I have too many messages. Very simple, very direct, and very useful. The second habit is this. Describe what you are doing. This works especially well because action is easy to connect to language. For example, when you are making breakfast, you can think, I am making coffee. I am cutting bread. I am in a hurry. When you are working, you can think, I am answering emails. I am trying to focus. This task is taking too long. When you are walking outside, you can think, it's windy. There are too many cars. I should walk faster. You are not making a speech. You are only giving your life a few English sentences. The third habit is very powerful. Talk to yourself in small questions and answers. This is helpful because real thinking is often like a quiet conversation. We ask ourselves questions. We answer them. We react to our own day. For example, what do I need to do first? I need to finish this report. Or, am I ready? Not yet. I need 5 more minutes. Or, why am I so tired today? I didn't sleep enough last night. This habit makes your English feel more alive. Because now it is not only description. It is also reaction. And that is closer to real speaking. The fourth habit is to use fixed English phrases again and again. This is very important. If every sentence feels new, your brain becomes tired. But if you repeat useful phrases many times, your brain begins to trust them. For example, you can build your day around phrases like these. I need to. I want to. I have to. I am trying to. I am not ready yet. I don't feel like it. I'll do it later. These small sentence frames are powerful because they help you think faster. You are not building every sentence from zero. You are using a shape you already know. For example, I need to rest. I need to call my friend. I need to clean this room. Or, I am trying to focus. I am trying to be patient. I am trying to speak more English. This kind of repetition is not boring. It is training. It is how fluency begins. The fifth habit is to react to your feelings in English. This is helpful because feelings are part of daily life. And if you can connect English to your feelings, English becomes more personal. For example, you can think, I feel nervous. I feel calm today. I am a little stressed. I am excited about this. I don't feel comfortable. These are very useful sentences. Because real life is full of feelings. And real conversations often begin with feelings. The sixth habit is something I really recommend. Use one small English moment every day. Not 1 hour. Not a huge practice session. Just one small moment that always belongs to English. For example, maybe every morning, while you make tea or coffee, you think in English for 2 minutes. Or, every night before bed, you describe your day in 5 simple sentences. Or, every time you walk somewhere alone, you use English in your mind. This works because regular practice is stronger than random practice. A small daily habit can change your thinking more than one big lesson each week. Why? Because daily repetition teaches your brain that English is not a special event. It becomes part of normal life. And that is exactly what you want. Now, let me say something important. Do not try to do all these habits at once. That usually does not work. You become excited for 2 days. Then tired. Then discouraged. Instead, choose one habit first. Only one. Maybe you start with naming what you see. Or maybe you start with describing what you are doing. Or maybe you start with one small English moment every morning. Keep it easy. Keep it light. Keep it realistic. Because if the habit is too difficult, you will avoid it. But if the habit is simple, you can repeat it. And repetition is the key. Let us make this even more real. Imagine your morning begins like this. You wake up. You feel sleepy. You think, I am still tired. You open the window. You see the weather. You think, it looks cold today. You go to the kitchen. You make coffee. You think, I need a quiet morning. That is already practice. Real practice. Useful practice. And the best part is this. You do not need extra time for it. You only need attention. You are taking your normal life and slowly giving it English. That is how the habit grows. That is how translation becomes weaker. And that is how direct thinking becomes stronger. In the next part, we are going to talk about one more important change. A mindset change. Because many learners do not only need new habits, they also need a new way to think about speaking itself. And that can change everything. Now, let us talk about one more important piece. A mindset change. Because habits are important, but your mindset is also important. Many learners try to speak English with one hidden goal. They want to say the perfect sentence. This sounds reasonable. Of course, you want to speak well. Of course, you want correct grammar. Of course, you want good vocabulary. But here is the problem. When your first goal is perfection, your speaking becomes slower. And sometimes, it stops completely. Why? Because perfection creates pressure. And pressure makes your mind tight. When your mind is tight, it does not move freely. It checks. It doubts. It hesitates. It waits too long. So the mindset change is this. Do not aim for perfect English first. Aim for clear English first. Let me say that again. Do not aim for perfect English first. Aim for clear English first. This small change can make a huge difference. Clear English is easier to trust. Clear English is easier to say. Clear English is easier to build in real time. For example, imagine you want to talk about your day. A perfection mindset may say, I need an interesting sentence. I need better vocabulary. I should sound more advanced. But a clarity mindset says, I just need to say it clearly. That is enough. So instead of trying to say something complicated, you say, my day was busy. I had a lot to do. I was tired, but I finished my work. This is not fancy, but it works. And in real communication, what works matters more than what sounds impressive. Another mindset change is this. Do not ask, how can I say this perfectly? Ask, what is the simplest way to say this? That question changes everything. Because when you ask for the simplest way, your brain relaxes. It stops searching for difficult words. It stops trying to copy your first language exactly. It starts looking for useful English instead. Let me give you an example. Maybe in your first language, you want to say something very exact and detailed. But in English, maybe a simpler version is better. For example, maybe your long thought is this. I feel mentally exhausted because I had too many responsibilities and unexpected problems today. That is a real thought. But in normal conversation, you may not need all of that. You could simply say, I had a stressful day. Or, today was really tiring. That is enough. And because it is enough, it is powerful. A third mindset change is this. Accept simple English as real English. This is very important for many learners. Some learners think simple English is childish, or weak, or not good enough. But that is not true. Simple English is often the strongest English. Clear sentences are powerful. Short sentences are memorable. Direct sentences are useful in real life. Think about everyday speech. People often say, I am not sure. That makes sense. I need more time. I don't agree. I am still thinking. These are simple sentences. But they are real. And they are useful. So please stop thinking that good English must always sound advanced. Good English often sounds clear, calm, direct, natural. Another helpful mindset is this. You do not need to say everything you think. This may sound surprising, but it matters a lot. Many learners freeze because they try to express every detail in their head. Every emotion, every reason, every small meaning. That is too much pressure. You are allowed to say less. You are allowed to simplify. You are allowed to choose the easy version first. For example, maybe your full thought is complicated, but you can begin with, I am not ready yet. I need a little time. I am still learning. I don't know how to say it well. These sentences create space. They keep the conversation moving. And they protect your confidence. One more mindset change is this. Speaking is not a test. It is communication. This idea can free many learners. Because when you feel tested, you become nervous. You try to avoid mistakes. You become smaller inside. But when you remember that speaking is communication, something changes. Your goal becomes connection. Not performance. Not perfection. Connection. This means you ask yourself, can the other person understand me? Can I express the main idea? Can I keep the conversation alive? If the answer is yes, then your English is already doing something important. So let me bring all of this together. A healthier mindset sounds like this. I do not need the perfect sentence. I need a clear sentence. I do not need difficult words. I need useful words. I do not need to say everything. I need to say the main idea. I am not taking a test. I am trying to connect. That mindset is lighter. It is kinder. And it helps your English move more freely. When you stop demanding too much from every sentence, your brain begins to trust English more. And when your brain trusts English more, translation becomes less necessary. That is the shift. Not force. Not pressure. But trust. In the final part, we will slow down and bring everything together. We will review the main ideas. And we will end with a gentle reminder for your English journey. Because this change is possible. And it can begin today. Now, let us bring everything together. Today, we talked about a very common problem. Many learners do not speak slowly because they are lazy. They speak slowly because they are translating first. And when you translate first, your brain has too much work to do. It creates the idea in one language. Then it tries to rebuild the idea in English. That takes time. That creates pressure. And that makes speaking feel heavy. But we also learned something important. Translation is not always bad. It can help in the beginning. It can make learning feel safer. The real problem is staying there for too long. The real problem is depending on translation every time you want to speak. Then we talked about what thinking in English really means. It does not mean thinking in perfect English all day. It does not mean becoming a different person. It simply means building small ideas directly in English. In real life. In real moments. A little more often. We also talked about small habits. You can name what you see. You can describe what you are doing. You can ask and answer small questions in your mind. You can repeat useful sentence frames. And you can create one small English moment every day. Then we talked about mindset. This part is very important. You do not need perfect English first. You need clear English first. You do not need the most advanced sentence. You need a sentence that is simple, real, and useful. That is enough. More than enough, in fact. Now, I want to give you a very gentle practice. Not a difficult exercise. Just a simple one. Today, after this episode, choose one moment in your day. Only one. Maybe when you make tea. Maybe when you walk outside. Maybe when you sit down to work. And in that one moment, try to think in simple English. Not for 10 minutes. Not for an hour. Just for a short time. You can say things like, I am tired. I need to focus. It's cold today. I am not ready yet. I have a lot to do. That is enough. Really? That is enough. Because the goal is not to impress yourself. The goal is to build a new habit. A lighter habit. A more direct habit. A habit that helps English come closer to your real life. And please remember this. You do not need to change everything in one day. You do not need to stop translating forever, starting tonight. That is not realistic. And it is not necessary. What matters is the direction. Are you moving a little closer to direct English? Are you giving your mind a few more real English moments each day? If the answer is yes, then you are already changing. Slow change is still real change. Small progress is still progress. And simple English is still real English. So be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. And keep going. Your English does not need more fear. It needs more trust. Trust the small sentence. Trust the direct thought. Trust the simple habit. And trust the process of slow improvement. One day, you will notice something beautiful. A sentence will come faster. A response will feel easier. A thought will appear in English without so much effort. And in that moment, you will see that this quiet practice has been working all along. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Keep practicing, step by step. You are learning more than you think. And I will see you in the next episode.